The European Union has been dealt a huge blow after being warned by a former MEP Switzerland could abandon up to 120 bilateral trade agreements with the bloc and follow a similar path to the UK. On Wednesday, Switzerland sent shockwaves through the EU by walking away from 7 years of trade negotiations after rejecting Brussels' demands over freedom of movement. Switzerland is not one of the 27 remaining EU member states following the full departure of the UK from the EU, but it is still closely tied to the bloc via more than bilateral agreements, and a potential deal would have significantly strengthened economic ties between the two sides, but the pact had faced stiff opposition from within the Swiss cabinet, as it was seen as too great an infringement on the country's highly regarded sovereignty. In a statement, the Swiss government concluded that there remain substantial differences between Switzerland and the EU on key aspects of the agreement. The conditions are thus not met for the signing of the agreement. This brings the negotiations on the draft of the proposed treaty to a close. Swiss President Guy Parmelin said, the government found that the talks with the EU in 3 areas did not lead to the necessary solutions. That is why the government decided to end the negotiations. Now a Brexiteer and former MEP has warned Switzerland could be preparing to inflict even more pain on the EU to follow a similar path to the UK. Reacting to the news of the collapsed deal, David C. Bannerman tweeted, "It is now increasingly likely that Switzerland abandons the 120 bilateral agreements it has with the EU, steps away from the EU single market, and adopts a similar trade deal to the UK's TCA agreement." The EU have been pushing for nearly a decade for a treaty that would sit over bilateral accords that would see the Swiss routinely adopt changes to single market rules. Any agreed deal would have also provided a more efficient way to resolve disputes. But the European Commission said, without this agreement, this modernization of our relationship will not be possible and our bilateral agreements will inevitably age. 50 years have passed since the entry into force of the Free Trade Agreement, 20 years since the bilateral Iron II agreements. Already today, they are not up to speed for what the EU and Swiss relationship should and could be.